What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some news in the form of This Week at Bungie, as well as a new patch for the game with a few changes worth talking about. So we're going to touch on the hotfix today, as well as a bug that this has caused for spectral page drops. And then also Bungie jump in with the TWAB. They speak about Trials Freelance that we're going to get this weekend, some of the rewards there, a mild teaser for the December update, and a few other things which we'll round up in the video. So as always guys, I hope you find this one useful, but now let's get into it. Now first up for today, we should mention the patch note changes for hotfix 3311, and there are a couple of useful things inside of this update. So Bungie said they fixed an issue where the Demolitionist perk wasn't reloading the weapon when a grenade was thrown. Then on top of this, they fixed a problem where picking up a relic during a reload animation will result in ammo duplication, and weapons will now correctly reload from reserves. But additionally, the Festival of the Lost Weapons, Jurassic Green, Braytech Werewolf, and the Horror Story will now drop at a consistent power level. And so a few adjustments regarding weapons right there, but also for ghost shells, they fixed a problem where the Prophecy ghost shell's ears were not colourful, so there was obviously a slight shader issue there. And additionally for pursuits, they lowered step 7 objective of the Forsaken campaign quest from completing 5 spider bounties to 4, so players can reasonably complete their step in a single day. And that's definitely useful as well if you happen to be doing that. And then we have some activity stuff. So for the Corrupted, they fixed a problem where the elevator console sometimes couldn't be interacted with, and an issue where Sadia's shields would generate faster than expected on Nightfall difficulties. And they say her shields will now generate based on a health threshold in Nightfalls, just like they do in Direct Launch or Vanguard playlists. And for Trials of Osiris, there are some important changes. So capturing zones in Trials of Osiris will no longer grant super energy. And don't forget that that's also going to affect zone control if they happen to bring that back. Additionally, Trials of Osiris will now restrict access of fireteam leaders if they have not reached the appropriate gear power level. They've also added a tooltip for the fact that artifact power is disabled, and fixed an issue that caused flawless players who reset their ticket to prioritize matchmaking with other flawless resetters for the first 2 wins on the new ticket. And they say this issue would occur even when the flawless matchmaking was disabled. And finally, traveling to the simulated lighthouse will no longer reset ritual activity streaks. The very final thing for the hotfix is for UI, and for Bungie friends, they say they fixed an issue where the notification toast for one or more pending Bungie friend request could appear blank for some players immediately after character select. And so that does it for the hotfix changes for today. However, there has been a little bit of bugginess following the patch, and DMG said, Republic events having decreased candy and spectral pages. An errant change was deployed alongside the fix for candy and spectral pages from Nightfalls earlier today, and the team is working to revert the change to public events. And so it may even be fixed by the time you see this video, but if you've only been receiving 1 spectral page per public event clear, then Bungie do point out that it isn't an intentional change, and they're looking to get it sorted out. Next though, in the TWAB, Bungie talk about Trials of Osiris Freelance, and they say in less than 24 hours, Same 14 will be dabbling another labs weekend for Trials of Osiris, and for this round, we'll be looking at Freelance. And for those that don't know, Freelance is a matchmaking node specifically for solo players. No pre-made fireteams may enter, and while players may continue to earn Trials reputation and even go for a flawless run, this is a separate node that'll be located directly above the Trials of Osiris in the Director. And so Freelance is optional, just in case you were wondering. And they say, remember, if you're going in alone, watch your back. There's no telling if your Freelance teammates will be looking out for you. Find a buddy, move together, and maybe your team will come out on top. And they go on to say that through this Freelance Labs weekend, Trials reputation will be doubled. If you're rounding out your Trials specific armor collection, or aiming for a god roll on any of the weapons that Trials has to offer, this is a great weekend to jam out some rep. And once you've completed a full card, even if you've lost a game or 2, your post-game rewards are increased. Enhancement Prisms, Ascendant Shards, and Trials Engrams all have the chance to drop. And whether you want to focus your engrams and roll specific reward, or just roll the dice, this is the best way to earn Trials loot. And armor drops will also have higher chances for better stat rolls. Bungie also say that if you complete the Trial by Firing Squad challenge this weekend, which of course requires 20 round wins, they say will be rewarded with a Reed's Regret linear fusion rifle, XP, and Bright Dust. And that'll include the ability to then focus Trials engrams for more rolls of Reed's Regret. So a few things to note, and let us know if you are going to be jumping into Trials this weekend specifically to try out Freelance. Otherwise, in the TWAB, they also say that the team has been hard at work over the last few months planning some special things for the 30th anniversary release. not just in content, but also in quality of life fixes. We've been responding to a few questions here and there about bug fixes, like a pass on Dune Marcher's Chain Lightning, some aim assist tuning on Vex Mythoclast. And so aim assist is one of the things they're going to be looking at, as well as other fixes. And they also say the team was able to squeeze in a little time for other bits of exotic weaponry tuning as they transition to fully focus on the Witch Queen. It won't be a full season's worth of buffs, but it's a handful of fun things to give some exotics a fighting chance. And the tease, they've heard whispers of a few changes that already have got them thinking about switching things up. And so it sounds like a potential change for Whisper of the Worm right there. But they say for additional changes and information, the end of November and early December is the target for a full write-up of these sandbox changes. So give us any thoughts you may have about that. But also in the TWAB, Bungie state they're going to be running another fashion show where players have the chance to get the Levante's Prize fashion emblem, as well as an art show where players have the chance to unlock the Chromatic Intention emblem. So if you want extra details about how to enter those, they are in the TWAB, which I will link down below. Also today, in additional news alongside the patch, players have continued to report in-game overlays actually popping up during gameplay. I believe it can happen in any content, but that includes PvP, and players shared clips where they'd got overlays popping up during 1v3s in trials and things like that, which obviously is not ideal whatsoever. So DMG said it looks like the team does have a fix lined up for December. I don't think it's a particularly common issue, but of course it can be pretty annoying. But it is something that Bungie will eventually get sorted. And also Bungie Help tweeted the other day that they were investigating an issue where creating a new character could result in all previously acquired candy from Festival of the Lost being removed from inventories. But Bungie Help updated and said the issue has now been resolved and players can safely create new characters without fear that their earned candy will be removed from inventories. And so something else that could be worth a mention right there. And here it is worth recognizing that, of course, as we discussed yesterday, Bungie clarified that Year 5 dungeons will be separate purchases to main expansions and even seasons. And essentially the only way to get access to them without buying them separately will be to purchase the digital deluxe edition of Witch Queen. Been a lot of frustration in the community about this step. I think in particular because there was a lack of communication about exactly how that was going to work. And the normal expectation, of course, is that if a piece of content drops during a season, it's probably part of the season itself and not something you have to buy separately. So there has been a lot of conversation, but DMG said every job has its challenging days and it's time to dive deep. So it's possible that Bungie will recognize this in a bit more depth. Not sure if that means anything will change, but certainly it's entirely possible that we'll get a response at some point soon. But for the video today, that's what we have to round up. I really do appreciate all the support you guys have shown on the channel of late. Season of the Lost has been one of the best this year at least, and I appreciate you guys continuing to tune in, but also to all of the new subscribers on the channel. It's going to be awesome as we go into Witch Queen, and I appreciate you getting locked and loaded. And if you are new to the channel right now, then feel free to get subscribed as we do have a lot of stuff to talk about over the coming months, and hopefully plenty of positives from Bungie. But for today guys, that's what we have to touch on, so if you've enjoyed the video or found it useful, a rating below really helps us out. And as always, give us any thoughts you may have in the comments section, but otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you all have an awesome day.